Alex Mullen to make it 3-1 in the grand final. Puts in the penalty and wins the grand final for Campbelltown City.
No one attacks it, comes back off the penalty. It's the goal! It's top! Oh! And their talisman's got another one! Harry City back quick. Jake King done! What a shot! My goodness me! Oh, can't teach that sort of stuff. Sends it in, keeps it low, and it's gone in! It's gone in! LA Uni have scored in time added. Tries to get under control, and the shot from Tolland! Salisbury into a 2-0 up!
Neil Butler with another chance, it's 2-1 to Playford! Persistence has paid off for Playford!
One touch the keeper, pushes it into the bottom corner. Beach gives him a shoulder after that as well. He's lost his clean sheet, and he's lost his head with a red card! David, this is massive!
The girls sing and the geezers too, yeah, we're doing this thing.
Hello and welcome to One Game at a Time, episode 4 already for 2025. I'm Seb O'Neill, one of your hosts, as always, joined by a man who is a dear and close to my heart, and I'm going to ask him a question, like I did last week. Last week was your favorite musical. This week, Mark Talbot, what is your favorite Disney movie?
Oh, favorite Disney movie. Oh, Tangled.
Oh, interesting. Why is that?
Oh, I love the main character, Flynn Rider. It was
Fair
going to
enough.
be. It was tossing up with my son's name. That was a toss up between his name and Flynn Rider. I was trying to convince my other half that we should name him Flynn Rider, but she didn't go for it.
What
So I have to
first
say
name?
Tangled.
First name Flynn, middle name Ryder.
Yeah, yep. And then the other thing I loved about the movie was they always fought with fry pans. Love that bit.
True.
So
Very,
yeah,
very true.
have to be Tangled.
Not a bad pick at all. And also joined by David Grant. David, what's your favorite Disney movie?
I'm going to show my age again, aren't I? I'm going to go with something like Jungle Book. Is that a Disney movie? I can't remember.
Yeah,
but
that's a Disney movie.
Every time you ask these questions, I feel like I'm a lot older than I probably should feel because I picked these old films. But Jungle Book's probably my number one. But again, a question I wasn't expecting, so not very well prepared. But yeah, Jungle Book, I think.
That's why I like to ask these questions.
Matata.
Yeah, sure thing. Bit of housekeeping to start off with. Number one, you might notice that we are a man down. That's because the other one is actually running a little bit late as it stands. The other one being Alessio, so he will join us as soon as possible. And number two, David, I have just noticed what you are wearing.
What? What? Really?
Yes, I didn't realize before, but now I have.
What do you think?
Will you expand?
I was presented with this shirt when I went to do Metro United's game on Friday night at Campbelltown by the Metro United staff, headed by Paul Morris, and Sarah Taylor handed me a shirt, and I was absolutely, smitten. So I'm wearing it tonight with pride.
That's very, very, very nice to hear. Are you happy? It's a very nice shirt, to be fair.
Yeah, it's actually it's got it's their 20th year. So down here they've got this little commemorative 20 and a number of stars above there. So it's a sort of 20th anniversary commemorative shirt. It's actually 19 years since they started, but this is the 20th year that they're starting that they've been playing. So so I was actually really touched. I wasn't expecting it, and so I'm wearing it tonight with pride.
Does it have Taylor on the back?
Oh, that would be brilliant.
I don't think it does. But to be honest,
you've got a number. Do you know you've got a number?
71. So they've not quite got my year of birth right. But they've been
they guess your age though.
Yeah, you'll wait, pal. You'll wait. Funnily enough, they got extra large. I don't know what kind of girth they think I'm carrying. An extra large was the one they ordered for me, so I'm sure that that's not one they order very often.
That is brilliant, and hats off to Metro. That's just fantastic.
Yeah, very much appreciated, and thanks very much. And I'm wearing it with pride tonight.
Absolutely. It looks very, very nice on you, David. I must... Oh, a knock at the door.
Already?
Really?
Already?
Yeah.
What could that possibly be? David, do you mind going to check for a second?
Just hold on.
Okay, thank you. Oh, already, Mark.
I know. This is very early for a guest.
Yeah, we haven't even done our picks yet.
I know.
Come on in. Have a seat.
Who is it?
I'm not sure. Is it Alessio or is
it? Who is it?
It is me.
Welcome, Alessio. Good to see you. You've made it safe and all good. And what is your favorite Disney movie? You missed that question.
Disney movie, probably maybe Cars. That's probably a great one.
Okay, that's a good shout.
Yeah, it's a more modern. Oh no, actually no. I think Tangle's actually newer than Cars. To be fair.
Oh, I couldn't tell you anymore.
Definitely. Cars would be like early 2000s maybe.
I think Cars was like 2006.
Well,
true.
I was going to say Tangled was my daughter, so that would have been 2000. She was born 2010, so Tangled would have been about 2012.
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah, very,
Isn't
very,
it Disney
very interesting.
Pixar?
Yeah, it's Disney.
It is
Pixar,
Disney Pixar, yeah.
Yeah, but it counts. It counts still.
It wasn't
well,
initially. I think it became laterally. Anyway, sorry.
yeah. The Disney podcast. this is when there's no football on. Now that all four of us are here together, we'll move on. Starting off with our picks. I will go first. At the weekend, Adelaide United played against not MacArthur, played against Brisbane Royal, played against MacArthur this Friday though. And Harry Crawford started. And he also scored, just a little goal, a long-range curler, top bins at High Marsh, first ever A-League goal. It's not bad. I was happy enough and proud enough to call his first goal as a part of the commentary with the collective. And it was just a really nice moment alongside Antonis Pagonis, who he himself has been watching Harry Crawford throughout not just the United youth team, but the reserve squad as well. And Harry Crawford, just to play David, I remember he was the player who created that Patrick McGregor moment against Adelaide Comets last year, if you do remember that.
I do remember that, actually. I mean, we raved about Patrick McGregor's strike, but Crawford, from memory, had a very good game that day, and we were mightily impressed with him. I have sent you a wee message, but I did see in the Adelaide United's in their social media feed today that they had done this little promo of Harry Crawford, and among the promo was a picture of him wearing a Celtic shirt as a youngster. So bitterly disappointed in that, of course, but yeah, well, there you go. You can't have them all, can you, Harry? You've gone and spoilt me. Never mind.
But yeah, absolutely very, very happy to see Harry Crawford scoring in a start as well. Starting was very good. Starting has been pretty solid the past few weeks. And just, thrilled for the guy.
That's great for Elizabeth Vale boy.
Yeah, the North in particular.
Yeah,
We love
he's
Northern
an Elizabeth
players
Vale
getting
boy.
on the world stage.
Not only that, like I said, from the Vale, we've created some great players over the years. So,
absolutely.
Did he ever? Do you know where he did he play juniors at Elizabeth Vale and then?
Yeah, his dad's a player at Elizabeth Vale and still playing now. Actually, Tim Crawford still playing at the Vale, and yeah, he started at the Vale, then moved on from there when he was younger. But yeah, no, great for, like I said, Elizabeth Vale again producing another player. They've produced some A-League or NSL players in the past. Michael Cartwright was one. So yeah, and they produced can't think of her name at the moment. Moore. She played for Australia and Metro United actually as well. I can't think of her first name. It's going to bug me now. I'll remember that later.
My new favourite team.
Well, then not in commentary because you're unbiased in commentary, aren't you? Completely.
Of course.
On that, David, we'll go on to you. Speaking of WNPL, first round was this past weekend.
That's right. So my pick of the week is the WNPL first round. I was astounded and surprised, I suppose, at the result that Adelaide Uni pulled off against Adelaide City. Adelaide City last year did have a couple of games where they slipped up, and of course they missed out in finals with, I think it was the last kick of the
last night.
Pretty much the last game of the last match of the round robin series, if that's the right term. So they didn't have a great year last year, but Adelaide Uni, of course, were a side that scraped in terms of staying up in the WNPL with pretty much their last game as well. The last couple of minutes of their game, and Mark was a commentator on that last night, that fateful last night. But yeah, Alicia Panagakos and Nicole O'Neill scored 2 goals to give Adelaide Uni a 2-0 win over Adelaide City. And then the game I was at was Metro United Campbelltown City hosting Metro United.
You've got them on your mind, David.
I have. I can't stop thinking about them. They were very, very good today. But look, I was actually quietly impressed with Campbelltown City. They looked like a side that will probably string a few wins together this year, and I would be surprised if they went back down. We haven't seen every team this year yet, of course, in the WNPL, but I felt that Campbelltown City showed enough to suggest to me that they were better than the poorest 3 teams in last year's WNPL, as in Sturt, Flinders, Adelaide Uni, and so on. So I think Campbelltown City, if they keep their heads up and they can get on a bit of a roll, I think they might do okay. But Metro United look very strong. The 3 goals, Andrea Bustos, Emma Cockgrove and Natasha Vela scored the 3 goals for Metro United. 2 substitutes that came on and scored goals, and Andrea Bustos scored just before half time. For me, Andrea Bustos looked great. She's a Chilean, I think they call her Peppa, and she looked very good, along with Michaela Haddad and Siobhan Eastham in their midfield. So Metro United looked good, but I guess, look, that's not my pick. I don't want to keep talking about Metro United. It's about the WNPL starting and getting along to watch the women's games, and I'm excited for their new season.
Absolutely. Very, very exciting, and more games to come ahead. Mark, on to you. What do you have for us?
Yeah, actually, funny enough, my first pick is actually following on from David. So nice little segue there in the WNPL, in the fact I just wanted to give a shout out to young Grace Sortel, who is currently over in London, but she will be going to Scotland and doing a residential training camp with with Glasgow Rangers in April. She's been playing with Flinders for a number of years, but she actually did her ACL last year and missed the whole just pretty much missed the whole season. And she's now back and is over there now, so she'll have a massive April coming up with Glasgow Rangers. So congratulations to Grace, and I hope it all goes very well for her over there, and I'm sure it will do. My second pick is Cup Round. We saw some interesting results, but my sort of pick is more a question to the panel, really. 2 rounds in, do we really need to be resting players with some of the results that came up? Some teams have rested players from their league starting 11 to only just beat sides or lose to sides that they should really be beating. And is it worth resting players at two games into the season?
No.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either, to be honest. I mean, we play 1 game a week, and we're 2 games in, and you're resting a lot of players. Like, there's quite a number of teams resting players already, and it's, for me, it's not worth the risk.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you, Mark. I think you hit the nail on the head. I'm not sure which teams you're referring to. I'm not across that, but yeah, this time of the season, they've just done all of their preseason. Spent, I don't know how long's preseason in South Australia. It's 7 months or something.
Most of them start in November.
Yeah. So they've had all that pre-season to get fit, and I get that the league is probably the bread and butter of the competition. But yeah, 2 rounds in, I don't know why you'd be resting players. It also suggests maybe a bit of a lack of respect for the competition or the opponents, or something like that. But I said that very quietly so that I didn't offend anyone.
Just playing devil's advocate, could it be long weekend? Of course, players could just be away. Alternatively.
Yeah, but most of these guys are being paid, so the fact is they know they need to be there all season. And in saying that, most of them don't get paid for the cup.
Okay, yeah, not many people do at all.
There's very few. Well, if they're on a pro contract, they're paid for 40 weeks, so technically they should be paid for cup. But if you're on an amateur contract, you are not paid for cup rounds. You're only paid for league games.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. More on the cup. Alessio, to you. You were at some games, one in particular.
Yeah, and it's not my own. I was there as well for my own. But that was on the bench that game. But yes, I was at the Northern Derby. I thought it'd be a good chance to catch 2 teams that I wish played against each other in a more competitive, should we say, grand final last year. But they found each other in the first round of the cup, and it was pretty competitive for good viewing. I mean, the crowd was pretty decent. Both teams, as we did say, rotated a little bit. I mean, especially from the Playford side, being an NPL team, having all that form from the previous week. They rotated a few, gave some people and some players we haven't seen before yet. That Xavier Pratt, Jella Ajak, Jeannie Akakpo, even Ethan Allgate got a start as well. So they're definitely rotating a few of their players you saw on the bench as well. And it came to fruition why they're the players they rely on. And talking about Isaac Mullen, Tabares, Dan Ryan, Sindel Harley as well. But it was a very competitive game up until the last couple of minutes. Obviously, there's no clock there, so you never know how long he's added or how long should be left to go. But it seemed like a pretty competitive game until probably about the hour mark. It was probably ebbs and flow, not a lot of quality, but it was definitely played at a high pace, and both teams really wanted to win it. And then, of course, the subs they made at the 60th minute mark, a triple change for Playford, coming on Mullen, Tabares, Dan Ryan, and a couple of those players who are probably making their first couple of appearances for the first team for Playford made way. And proven to account. After a hat-trick in the previous game in the league that Mark called, Dan Ryan came on to score 2, and you thought that was about it. And then those long throw-ins and set pieces that Seb's come accustomed to at Salisbury came to play, and it was one corner that found Matt Taylor, then a couple more long throw-ins. I think one came off the post, a couple the keeper made a great save too, but they were throwing everything at it, Salisbury, and they made some changes themselves as well, with probably some players you'd expect to start, like Bevington. Mitch Cool even had a great introduction off the bench. There was no Dermot Harrington, no Buka Shinto. So obviously they changed some as well, but they were definitely trying to get the scout there against the NPL team, and it just fizzled out near the end, and they didn't get the all-important equaliser. But it's a good game, and a great for me to go out there again and watch a game that I haven't been there in probably 2 years. So yeah, it's very good.
And it's fair to say you love the North, Alessio?
I do. I love the North. I'm hoping to get out to so many more games there. I just love watching football on grass as well up there, and they get great crowds. So North and South. I mean, I'm not privy to. I can go down to Cove if I want as well. I'm sure they've got some great facilities and grounds as well. But anywhere down either side, when I've got time, I definitely go to all of them.
Absolutely. The Cup throwing up some very, very interesting games, I must say.
Seb, I just remembered the player from the Vale that was produced, a young female, was Kirsty Moore, who played for Metro and Australia. I knew I'd come to say thanks, Mum. Mum managed to fill me in on that.
Step, I've also got a little tale to tell you about my experience at Campbelltown very quickly.
Go on.
I don't know how you guys do this, but I write down the teams from the previous week. And what that means is that I can, when the teams are released or the team sheet comes out, I can make changes in my notes so that I've got a comparison between last week and this week. And I was lucky enough to have Courtney Mitchell from Metro United doing co-commentary with me on Friday night. She was right alongside me. And she did a great job. If anyone's looking for a co-commentator, she was fantastic. I'd recommend her. But anyway, I read through the Campbelltown City lineup, and then I started reading through the Metro United lineup. And it takes a little while to get through. And I got to the name Amber May Smith, and I thought to myself, I'm sure I wrote down Amber Smith. And lo and behold, as I got to the end of the lineup, I realised I was reading last week's teams out, and the previous week's teams out, should I say. And as I got to the end, I read out Courtney Mitchell's name. Courtney Mitchell played last week, but was injured this week and sitting right next to me as I read out her name in the team sheet. So awkward moment, got it wrong. I apologise to all the listeners. I went back and reread all the teams out correctly after that.
Well, at least you got the shirt before that happened, I think is the best part.
Actually, I didn't, but yeah.
Fun week. Yeah, as we said, the Cup throwing up some very, very interesting results. Plenty of fixtures that we will go through. Oh, it's the door. David.
It is.
It's the door, David. Do you mind checking for us again?
Hang on a second, chaps. I'll be back in a moment.
Okay, thank you, David. We appreciate your door tending services. So we don't have to get up instead.
Hi, there was somebody at the door. Come on in, sit down. It's Eduardo Viera.
Oh,
from Brasfoot.
Edu.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you for coming on and joining us, Edu. Lovely to have you. A big week for you and Brasfoot. We'll go to the game in a moment, but I just suppose, how's it been going so far with Brasfoot? This is your second year as a club playing. I guess just how is the club in general at the moment?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me here. Thanks for the invitation. I love the fact that Dave is the mode on, opening the door for everyone who just arrived here. Thanks, Dave. And huge congratulations for you guys on the job you guys been doing. I come from a country where the game is just everything for us, and here in Australia we know that it's not for majority of the country. And when you see people that love the game like you guys, it's amazing for us. I know it's tough. I come from a reality doing this kind of things in Brazil as a journalist myself, so I know it's difficult. I know it's tough. So well done for you guys on what you're doing. And thanks, for us, no worries. And for us on Brasfoot, it's been amazing. As you said, it's the second year. By the way, this month of March, we turned 2 years. We have 2 years of club. 2 years ago, I sat in a When was it? I think it was at Grilled, if I'm not mistaken, or Betty's Burger, with three of our board members to talk about the club. Guilherme came with the idea. Guilherme is our CEO. He came with the idea from Brisbane, inspired by a Brazilian team that exists in Brisbane, the Brasa team. Alongside Guilherme, alongside Helio and Felipe, and then we decided to create a club. We started, researching information about how to do that. We had the help of the Brazilian Association of South Australia to create the association, our association, a non-profit club. So it's not that simple, to get the bureaucratic things, but we did everything. We started operating, if we can say, 2 years ago, and then last year we started playing on the Cecil, on the amateur league. We won the tournament on A's and B's. We got promoted, and here we are now with 3 male teams and 1 women's team, flying high. So lots of things for the future. It's been a nice journey with Brasfoot and the Brazilian community together. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess just seeing sort of the environment there is quite cool to see. You've got the drums going pretty much every single week. You had a feature on Optus Sport last year in your first, I guess, season of being a club. I just suppose the culture around the club, it is heavily Brazilian, but I suppose for, I guess, players and people who aren't from that community, it must be like you guys will be so welcoming to, I guess, people from all cultures really to be playing in your club and supporting the club.
Yes, for sure, we are. The club came from players. Everyone in the board also is a player. So they came from players that used to play for Italian clubs, for Croatian clubs, Greek clubs, Ukrainian clubs, different backgrounds. So we kind of learned about how it works here in Australia, and we saw that we had a big group of Brazilians here playing football, and we say, look, I think we can do our thing here. We can bring our community together to create a club. As I said, in Brisbane, we had that before. Guilherme played for Brazilian club in Brisbane. We have a Brazilian club in Perth. We have a seasonal Brazilian club in Melbourne as well, playing the Unite Cup. And in Sydney, we have also a Brazilian club. So just basically Adelaide was missing that. And then we decided to go ahead with our community here. Just for you guys to understand, Brazilians come here to Adelaide as normally pretty much, I would say 95% of them as a student, and then they pursue their permanent visas because Adelaide is considered a regional area, so you can apply for your PR, for your permanent residency. And then we saw that we had a big community here. We decided to create, but the first thing we got in mind is not just for Brazilians. It's a Brazilian heritage club in the context of the Australian football, as it is for the Italians, it is for the Greeks, it is for the lots and lots of other nationalities that we have here. So on our club this year, we have Colombians, we have Australian, pretty much on the women's team this year playing. Last year, we had an Australian guy playing with us as well. Our coach is Irish, believe it or not, and he's fitting very well this year. It's his first year with us, Kyle Condram. He's a very experienced coach here. And it was interesting, to get this mix, an Irish coach with lots of Brazilian players, but he's fitting very well. He's pushing us to speak in English all the time. And that's one thing that we try. But of course, on the banter, on the things, on the daily routine, we speak in Portuguese. But inside of the pitch, training situations, game situations, Kyle is pushing us to speak in English all the time. And that's good for us as well, for the guys that doesn't have the English level too high, so they're practicing a lot. And that's it. As you said, we are very, very welcome to everyone. So in the future, for sure, we're going to have more and more international people playing with us, not just playing, but as part of the staff, as part of the volunteers and the supporters also watching the club. Yeah.
Absolutely. Before moving on, I guess, to the cup, final thing, really, you got promoted last year. We're a very, very good team in Sassel. Is there that ambition to become a part of, I guess, the Federation Leagues, joining, the expansion of State League 2 as well, being one of those clubs?
Gotta be very honest with that. Not for now. We don't have plans to go for the state leagues or NPL near future, mainly because 90% of our players are not are visa players. Actually, we don't have permanent visas. Some of our players already do that, but already have that. But most of them no. We have lots of students on our team sheet. So that's not possible for us for now, and it's just 2 years of a club. So imagine if we go for the state league in 1 or 2 years, and we have to create a complete different team, aside of our identity that we're trying to create. So the amateur leagues is a place that allows us to do that right now. Our, I can say, 3 or 4 years plan is to get on the Division 1 of the amateur league, and from there we're gonna try to sit down and see what we can do for the future. We have maybe kids academy on the plan. Our women's team was actually on the plan for maybe next years or 2 years, but they came together from the first time, and then we decided to go ahead this year. So that's something that we pushing this year as well, the women's team. So for the federation, not for now. Of course, we want to be part of the Australian Cup more and more. This year was a great experience that we're going to talk about in a minute, and we're going to probably be back on the next year as well. But our focus now is on the amateur league, on the women's team, as part of the federations, if I can say, because the community league is part of the football South Australia, and maybe kids in the future as well. So that's our short to medium term goals for Brasfoot. Yeah.
Very, very good to hear. Mark, David, Alessio, any questions from you?
I've got a couple of questions, Edu. If you could be patient with me.
I will. I promise. Go ahead.
Right. Ok. Olá, prazer ter Seb O'Neill. Está animado para falar com você?
Sim, muito obrigado. Obrigado por perguntar. Prazer estar aqui.
De nada. Qual é a esperança para o ano com a Brasfoot?
A gente espera ser campeão esse ano mais uma vez, conseguir o acesso para a próxima divisão. Esperamos que seja um ano de sucesso para o Brasfoot.
Você tem algum conselho para jogadores jovens como Alessio Carocci?
Alessio, trabalhe firme que você vai chegar longe.
Yeah, you seem. Mark Talbot ex-goleiro. Ele seria bom o suficiente para jogar no Brasfoot os seus melhores dias já passaram?
Sim, Mark. Venha para o Brasfoot. Temos um time over 35 esse ano, precisamos de goleiro.
Yes. Assim, obrigado por falar comigo. Tudo de bom?
Muito obrigado, David. Você é maravilhoso.
Não há mais perguntas. Thanks. Back to you, Seb.
Amazing.
How was the pronunciations there?
Perfect. Just perfect.
Go you, David.
I actually understood him better in Portuguese than sometimes in English, if I can say. David, I love you, David, but sometimes it's difficult to understand on your Scottish accent, lovely accent.
The other thing I was just going to add is a quick question. Maybe it's an obvious one. What is Brasfoot? What does it mean?
So good question. Brasfoot was actually a famous, very, very famous game in Brazil. It was something like Football Manager. How can I say? Like a very, very simple format of a Football Manager. I think everyone here play or have played Football Manager, Championship Manager before. In Brazil, we also are very, big fans of Football Manager. But we had Brasfoot and we had Elefoot in Brazil. So Brasfoot for our generation, like 30 years old plus, even 40 something. We grew up playing Brasfoot, we grew up playing Elefoot. And then when we were trying to decide the name of the team, we came along with lots of suggestions. But Brasfoot was something that, got on our heart because it's very nostalgic for us. It reminds us good times of our teenagers, and is actually, if you get the words brass from Brazil and foot from from football. So yeah, that's the idea.
Good.
I just saw the message here from Kyle saying laps. That's something that he does with us when we speak in Portuguese. He makes us to do 2 or 3 more laps. So probably I'll get more laps on Friday training because of you, David.
And another quick question. If you guys with your, if you ever go back to Brazil, do you think you might take what you've learned here to Brazil and maybe try and make Brazil a football country? Do you think football would ever take off in Brazil?
Maybe to get back to the World Cup, contender. We need that. Yeah, but of course, we had Renan, one of our board members. He came back to Brazil last year on a holidays, and he's a coach here now for kids. So he brought some ideas that he got from here, from Australia, and did some clinics in Brazil. So yeah, we have lots of things to bring from Australia to Brazil. Believe it or not, we do have.
Cheers. That's me, Seb. I don't know if...
Mark or Alessio, anything from you two?
I was just going to ask, if you guys did have a home base or a kind of maybe a suburb or something you would congregate, do you guys have a preference, or maybe where a lot of the Brazilian immigrants situated would they be, or at the moment just trying to find any kind of like home ground to play out of that is got the facilities for you guys at the moment?
Yeah, that's also a good question, because I can mention the partnership that we had with Para Hills Knights last year. They were great for us. They were just amazing. They pretty much opened the doors for us and help us to set up the club. Without their help, that would be, very, very difficult. And Para Hills Knights last year just opened the door for us. The Paddocks was our home last year. This year we decided to move just because, as you mentioned, we actually have like a region where Brazilians prefer to live. It's normally close to the beaches, Henley, Glenelg, maybe in the city, because most of them students lives in the city for, school and uni, vet courses, and of course, because of the economic situation, it's cheaper to live sometimes in the city in student accommodations. So Para Hills was a bit far from them, a good 30, 40, 50-minute drive for some of the guys. And it's funny because when we have Brazilians settled up here, people that already came from the pathway as students and now are permanent residents, they go to the south, again, close to the beaches. So again, 40, 50, 1 hour drive for Para Hills. So that's the only reason why we moved from Para Hills. Now we are based on Western Youth Century. I think Adelaide Red Blue Eagles, if I'm not mistaken, a few years ago, was based there. It's a nice place. We share our home ground with community center, Western Youth Community Center, and with our cricket club. So we are waiting for them to finish their season to start having our games. So our friendly games had to be played always away from our home. But that's where we want to stay. We have a good plan of staying there for a few years. They have plans for rebuilding the place, and we're going to be part of that as well. So that's a nice spot for us, close to, I think it's Covadilha, the name of the suburb, close to Marion Road, Henley Beach Road. So that's a nice place for us. If we can pick, staying close to the beaches in the central area is better for the Brazilian community. Yeah.
Very, very good to hear. On to your cup campaign, short-lived, but very, very spectacular in its fashion. We have the highlights. We'd love you to sort of, I guess, talk us through the game and the goals as they happened. So I guess, how was the day?
Yeah, it was cruel for us, but in the end of the day, it was amazing. I would say a few hours after the game, it was amazing, because right after the game, we were just devastated by the result. We played very well. Of course, we were very excited for this game, because last year playing the Challenge Cup, we got Elizabeth Grove, and we lost for them again in a game that was crazy, because we were winning 2-1 with one more player. They had one guy sent off, and they managed to overcome the game, and they scored 4-2 in the end. This year, it was like a revanche, as we call in Brazil. We had another chance to beat them, and they played very well from the first minute. We conceded the first goal, but then we came back and we were winning 4-1 on the second half. That was amazing. We were playing very well versus our state league team that is training since, I don't know, October, November. Some of their players, I believe, get paid to play. They train, I think, 3 times a week, have more, structure than us to play and to train, and we were facing them. So that was amazing for us. We had our crowd, we had our community there, making lots of noise, the drummings, as you can hear, and the Brazilian joga bonito, as you guys like to say. We were playing very well, very well. And then came the second half. We started getting cramps, player getting tired, which is completely normal for us. We are an amateur club. I would say half of our team are working the construction, so they were working the whole day. They came to the game 5 p.m. They were tired from, waking up 4:35 a.m. to go to work, and they run pretty much all the time. We were giving everything on the game, but then we were getting tired. Elizabeth Grober was very well on the mentality. They never gave up, so they waited for the moment that we got tired, and they managed to get the game, behind. They had very good players. I don't know the name, but the number 24 from them and the number 12, they were amazing players. They played very well in that game. I think it's Logan Marley, one of the players. Yeah, the number 12, I don't remember, but they played very well. They didn't give up, and in the end, they got the draw in the last minute of the second half, and the extra time was just, they already got tired as well, uh, but for us was tougher, was more difficult because I don't know, we didn't have legs anymore, and they managed to score the fifth goal. We had another chances, but it was difficult. In the end, as you say, we were devastated, but just for the fact that for, I don't know, almost 80 minutes we played better than a state league side. It was an amazing experience for us. Our first year on the Australia Cup, the environment, the atmosphere for our crowd was just fantastic, and we'll be back next year for sure. Hopefully with a better result in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and just looking at these hearts as well, some goals from both. I saw Mark's reaction to the free kick, which you seemed quite impressed by, Mark.
Yeah, we had lots of goals. Say, Mark, you can say.
No, I was just going to say it was a nicely taken free kick. That kind of distance, I'd always question the goalkeeper, but it was still a well taken free kick. So, but what an occasion really for Brasfoot to first year in it to have an absolute spectacle of a game. It just shows what the football world in SA is like. It really does. And as it says, you can hear the crowd going mental the whole game, like they're just going crazy for you guys the whole game. So it just shows you, like I said, what this football community is like here in SA, and it just keeps getting bigger and stronger every year.
And I suppose for Brasfoot, Edo, the game was originally scheduled for the Saturday. How was it for your guys to, I guess, sort of adjust to having to play a whole day earlier?
Yeah, it was not the best situation for us. As I said, 100% of our guys were working on the day. No one got the day off. We didn't have that choice. Lots of them, works in like physical situations, if I can say. Some of them are painters, some of them are working in construction, drivers. So it's not ideal, to play a game on this importance in the end of the day after, working the whole day after your shift. You are tired. We were supposed to train on actually we were training on Thursday night, even with the game going ahead on Saturday. So we were supposed to have the Friday kind of off during the night, so the players can get ready. Some of the players had appointments with physios to get 100% fitness conditions for the game on Saturday, and was not ideal, but we understood was out of our choice because of the weather. The also the home ground that we're playing was not our home ground, was Adelaide Cobras, which we have to say thank you as well for them to open the doors for us. It was amazing from the first minute that we talked to them. Adelaide Cobras was just fantastic for us. But it is what it is. We cannot put the game situation just for that. Lots of things happened. Elizabeth Grove in the end deserved the victory, and we just came out of the game stronger for our season, for the amateur league, for the Challenge Cup, for the Reserves Cup, for everything that we're gonna be part of this year.
Absolutely, and I'm sure seeing you guys in the cup next year will be even better. We do have some viewer questions from our Instagram that have been asked towards you. Starting off from the local game, do you like to drink guarana? It is my favorite Brazilian drink.
I just saw that they announced a partnership with Sydney FC just today. I'm not sure if you guys saw that, just like a few hours ago. It's just one of the most popular drinks in Brazil. It's very, very popular. And it's something that when we find that here, as Brazilians, we find that here is it's just, tastes like home. So it's one of my favorites as well, yeah.
And then another question from Johnny Keko. What is your favorite Brazilian food?
Favorite Brazilian food? First of all, thanks to Johnny Keko. Love the guy as well. He's amazing. My favorite Brazilian food, I would say, is the Brazilian barbecue. Brazilian barbecue is very, very famous. The way that we do barbecue is very different from the way that we normally see here in Australia. It's very similar to other South American countries, as Argentina and other countries, but I would say barbecue. We always have that. We try to have that on our games. Last year we had that on our games at Par Hills, and this year we're gonna try to do that at Western Youth Central as well. So yeah, Brazilian barbecue, or you can try feijoada, coxinha, and lots of other Brazilian things. Yeah.
Very, very nice. And then a final two questions, both from Jada Pinho on Instagram. What do you think about walking football, and where do you see Brasfoot in 10 years?
Jada, his name. Jada is one of our players, and he's joking about walking football because it's some joke that they do with me, because I'm not how can I say, I don't run that much in the pitch. So I'm just a technical player, with assists and pre-assists, if I can say. But I love the idea of walking football for people that are, I don't know, over 60. This year we got our team over 35, so maybe in the future we're going to have over 60, and I can join them as well playing walking football. I'll be more than ready for that.
And then, the second question, where do you see Brasfoot in 10 years' time?
Where do I see Brasfoot in 10 years' time? Hopefully very, very well structured, if I can say, with our home base organized, with our community united and very strong around Brasfoot, playing maybe, as I said, in the Division 1 of amateur, or who knows in 10 years what's going to happen if we can play federation or not. Our women's team strong. We're having kids academy and everything that we are building here, that we are planning now. I hope we realize in 10 years time, and I hope I'll be here as well, helping to set up everything. Yeah.
Very, very good to hear. Eduardo, thank you for joining us. Been a pleasure to have you and talk to you again, as always. Anything else from anyone before we let him go? Any more Portuguese, David, you want to speak to him in?
Just obrigado.
Obrigado is very good.
Are we going to get a translation of that whole conversation later, or?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
I can try. You want to try something, David, or you want me to?
Can you see if Eduardo could do it in a Scottish accent, or?
Nah. The Brazilian accent is difficult enough for us to talk in English. He basically said that it was a pleasure to see me here. He said that Seb was very, very happy to talk to me here on the pod. I said, I'm fine. Thanks for asking. What's your hope for Brasfoot on this year? I said we hope to, also to get promoted this year, to get a title, win the cup as well. Any tip for young players as Alessio? I said, Alessio, work hard and you go far. And Mark, about being a former goalkeeper, would be him good enough to play for Brasfoot? I said, yes. We have an over 35 team, so Even though
Just
A's
trying
and B's, you can try as well, Mike. Come
I
to
think I
have a
should be in the
try.
walking football, mate. You should have got it right.
Amazing.
Walking football for me.
Can be a good idea. It was basically it, yeah. And thanks for talking to me. That's how David finished with his amazing Portuguese accent.
Mamma mia.
Better than his English, some would say, I think.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Thank you so much for joining us, Edu. Been a pleasure to have you. And I'm sure
Let me
we'll
just show you
talk.
guys something. So that's our kit
Ooh.
for this year.
Very
You can
nice.
see.
Very nice.
Gotta say thank you to our sponsors, if you allow me, Fidelis, Cozinha, Information Planet, RFX, Easy Wall, Macau, and Hilly Daloya. So lots of sponsors, pretty much every one of them related to the Brazilian community. So that's very, very important for us. Without them, we didn't have anything that we are building this year. Want to invite you guys to come to our games, please. This year we have, as I said, women's teams. We have over 35s playing Friday night, and we have A's and B's playing on Saturday. The women's are going to play the home games on Sundays, but some of the games on the Division 3 community leagues are going to be Saturdays and Friday night. So we have pretty much 4 teams playing every week, so come to watch. This Sunday, we have a friendly game versus Adelaide Blue Eagles, the amateur side. On Sunday, we're playing over 35s 12 p.m., B's 2 p.m., and A's 4 p.m., and the girls are playing 11 a.m. versus East Adelaide. I forgot the name of the Nearby, if I'm not mistaken, the name of the suburb. Oh, so we have the 4 teams playing on Sunday. It's going to be a big day, a busy day for us. And please follow Brasfoot.Adelaide on Instagram, on Facebook, and yeah, keep up with us. Thanks a lot. Congratulations on everything you guys been doing. Please keep doing that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Eduardo, and good luck for Brasfoot for the season.
Thank you so much. Yes, obrigado.
Obrigado.
Very, very good. Very enjoyable. David, I didn't know you were fluent.
Yeah, been fluent for years. Learned Portuguese ever since I was a wee kid. Growing up in Lisbon. And that.
So when do you learn English?
That's the language I always struggled with.
On to looking at results for the past weekend, starting with the WSL. Round 2 of that, Modbury Jets losing 3-1 to South Adelaide. Western Strikers beating Elizabeth Grove 3-1. Modbury Vista 5-0 over Sturt Lions. And Adelaide Jaguars versus Cove has been postponed for a later date. I suppose the 2 big shocks there are Western Strikers beating Grove and then Modbury Vista beating Sturt Lions quite convincingly. Mark, could this perhaps finally be the year that Modbury Vista don't have to go through a promotion playoff?
Well, I mean, that'd be their ideal scenario. I mean, they've been through it the last 2 years, so it's probably their turn to not have to go through the playoffs. So there'll be plenty of teams obviously out there to stop them, but I think we will pick them as a favourite or one of the few favourites for that. So for them, like I said, they've been there. It's probably their 3rd year chasing it. So hopefully they can get it this year for the team. So we'll just have to wait and see. But it's looking likely that they may not have to go through the playoff scenario.
And then, David, I suppose after the pre-season cup, Elizabeth Grove losing for a 2nd week in a row.
Yeah, not sure what's going on there. We kind of thought they might do quite well this year, and you're right. They got through to the final, didn't they? And now they've lost 2 in a row, and sit bottom. Not where you want to be after 2 games. There's only 8 teams in the competition, right enough. So as long as they can pick up a few wins over the next few weeks, who knows? Maybe they'll yet be promotion contenders. But 2 wins for South Adelaide and 2 wins for Modbury Vista, so they're off to good starts, aren't they? Jaguars and Cove, do we know why that was called off?
Maybe heat, possibly. Was it
Right.
was it hot this past weekend, I think?
It was very hot.
Definitely
yeah.
on a Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, must have been then.
Well, assuming that's the case, they'll probably play that catch-up game this week. They both lost their opening game, so they'll be eager to get a win over each other, or over how would I term that?
Yeah,
They play each other.
that's
both
the
of them
right
will
way,
want
I
them.
think.
Yeah, so it'll be important for them to get the win. But yeah, 2 unbeaten sides so far: Modbury, Vista, and South Adelaide, and they'll be on a bit of a roll. But do you know they play each other this week? Those 2 play each other this week. They do. Yeah, they do. Sorry, I shouldn't have phrased it that way. Put you in the spot. They do. They play each other this week. So the winner of that is off to a flyer. They've got 3 wins on the trot and a 3-point buffer at the top of the table, unless it's a draw, of course.
Very, very true. I guess just quickly on that, Mark, Ben is back as well.
Yeah, he's back from his jaunt overseas to South Africa with. He was actually over there with one of the Federation women's teams, like the girls' teams.
I was going to say, I saw him at Adelaide United on,
Yeah,
whatever day it was.
Yeah.
I saw him, I don't know why I'm asking that. I forgot.
Yeah, no, he's back. And so he was over there with the FSA NTC girls' team. They do. I think they do it every year. So he was over there with them for a couple. I think it was like 10 days or something like that. So, so he's now back and in charge of Southern Knights and the women's WSL team again.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very interesting round gone and to come ahead. On to round 1 of the WNPL. My game that I did for the weekend was Salisbury Inter versus West Adelaide. A very, very good and entertaining game. The stats they're pretty even, and I think they tell a pretty decent story of how the game went. Very, very competitive for both sides. Nini Amada was brilliant. Playing Angela Mills as a new signing as well was really, really good. And for a side that I think perhaps thought they were a bit underdone for the season coming ahead, Inter looked really, really good. Like I said, Angela Mills and Haruna Sugihara came off the bench just after half-time as well, made a real impact, scored just 5 minutes after. And then, like I said, Nini Yamada was just outstanding for West Adelaide, even made it into our team of the week alongside Angela Mills as well. So yeah, very, very good game. 2 teams which I think will be up there towards the end of the season, and very, very good night out. David, on to you for more on that Metro Campbelltown game, a bit more in depth perhaps.
Yeah, I'm not sure what more I can add that I mentioned before, but look, I'll just reiterate that I thought Campbelltown City played well enough. I think the first 5 minutes they were under the pump, but once they settled into the match, they looked a more relaxed side. There's that Bustos girl wearing my shirt. Once they settled in, I think Campbelltown showed that they looked quite comfortable at this level. A newly promoted side, of course, and this is their first real test, I suppose, in the WNPL, the top tier. So Andrea Bustos opened the scoring there. She had a quiet sort of first 15-20 minutes, and then she just came into her own. For me, she was the best on the park. I had also felt that Michaela Haddad had played well in midfield as well. And I spoke to Paul Morris, the coach at Metro United, after the game, and I asked him what his thoughts were, and he felt that Siobhan Eastham had also played well. He believes he's got the best midfield pairing in the league. There you go. So they're the 2 holding midfielders, the 2 sixes, if you like. They just sit a little bit further back from midfield and just in front of the back, 3 or 4. I can't remember how many they played at the back. But they looked good. They did look good. 2 substitutes scored the goals. Emma Cockgrove, she came on about the 63rd minute, and Natasha Vela came on a bit later as well. They both teams went through a flurry of substitutions, and I lost track of who was coming on, who was going off. But Natasha Vela and Emma Cockgrove were the 2 goal scorers off the bench. But yeah, I wouldn't write Campbelltown City off. I think they've got Flinders United up next week. And that's the 2 sides have both lost their opening games, but that's a game I think Campbelltown, I didn't see Flinders right enough, but that's a game I would think Campbelltown might be looking at and thinking, well, maybe we can get our first win here. If I had to be honest, I was a little disappointed not to see Campbelltown get a goal. I felt they deserved a goal, and Metro United won't be happy with me saying that, but I did feel they deserved a goal. It would have been nice to see them score their first goal since 2017. Maybe 16 was the last time Campbelltown played up in the top flight. So it's been a number of years that they've been out of the WNPL or the top tier, and good to see them back.
Just touching on some of the other games, Mark, Adelaide Comets, they're playing their first ever game at Ellis Park, 4-1 win The score sheet doesn't seem close, but it was very, very close. Pretty much took it down to the last minute, where Anastasia Willoughby scored a brace against her former side.
Yeah, I didn't get to see much of the weekend's games, but I did catch a little bit of that one. And we knew Joel Porter was coming up against his former side, and as was Willoughby. So, yeah, the game was a lot closer. It was very late in the game that they managed to pull ahead. So when you see the scoreline, go, oh yeah, 4-1, you think it was a bit of a battering. But on all accounts of what I saw and what I have heard of the game, it was actually quite the opposite. It was quite tight, quite close. And then again, yeah, a few goals at the death of the game from Willoughby to sort of make it look like it was probably a lot bigger of a win than what it actually was.
Yeah, absolutely. But very good to see Adelaide Comets having a good start for both of their men's and women's sides over at Ellis Park as well. And Alessio, just finally to the last two games, Adelaide Uni having a surprise win over Adelaide City, and NTC beating Burkalla 4-2 in the end.
Yeah, I mean, the Adelaide Uni result, in our predictions, it looks like all of us went for Adelaide City to win that because we expected them to have a good season. And as they've told us as well, Adelaide Uni might have been under predicting them as well for the season. So they've really come to play here and had quite a few good goals as well. And many of them quite unstoppable for goalkeepers. But even NTC as well, I mean, by the end of these predictions, I think it was David Copping just marked results, but they both went for a 4-2 NTC win, which was exactly bang on in the end. But yeah, I mean, it was a great start for both those teams. NTC team, we expected to be definitely in with the finals there and having some great young prospects in that team as well. So it was good to see them get off the mark with such a big win. And yeah, Adelaide Uni, though, I think they're going to be definitely one to be a surprise package this year. We've seen it in the other leagues. Vipers have done the same. Parry Hills have got some points on the board. So you never know in these leagues now, and they're just becoming more competitive. So as we said, that if Campbelltown are a team that are definitely above the bottom three, then I think Adelaide Uni are one to look out for as well.
Absolutely. Very, very good to see for all those sides. On to the Australia Cup. A lot of results to go through. We won't talk about all of them in depth, but we'll go through some. I'll list them all off though. Adelaide Comets beating Mowbray Vista 4-0. Hills Hawks winning 1-0 against Para Hills West of Sassel Sunday Division 1. Sturt Lions a 6-1 win over Anglevale in John Fusco's final game. Cumberland beating Old Ignatians 3-0. Elizabeth Downs losing 5-2 against Seaford Rangers. Tea Tree Gully winning by forfeit against Adelaide Eagles. Mount Barker United playing a 6-3 game against Adelaide Atletico. My God. Vipers 3-2 win against Eastern United. Brasfoot, as we already spoke about, 5-4 loss against Elizabeth Grove. Adelaide Cobras losing 1-0 very narrowly to MPL Mowbray Jets. Parry Hills United losing 4-1 to Adelaide Uni. Pitbulls losing 3-1 to Adelaide Blue Eagles. Western Strikers losing 2-1 after extra time to Gawler Eagles, the only game in the entire round to actually go, the second game only to go to extra time. Down in the Limestone Coast, Cove FC beating Narracourt United 16-0. Garn United winning 2-1 over Northern Demons. Apollo losing 15-0 to MPL side Adelaide Croatia Raiders. Gambia Central's a 5-1 loss to Adelaide Olympic, a bit better for those Limestone Coast sides. Pontian beating Bossa 3-1. Salisbury United, as we spoke about, losing 2-1 to Playford City there. International, a 2-0 loss to Adelaide Titans. Limestone Coast against State League 2 there as well. Southern Knights losing 3-0 via forfeit against West Adelaide. Para Hills East a 6-0 win over South Adelaide of State League 1. Portland Panthers against Croydon Cougars, a 13-0 loss and a red card for Portland as well. And last night, Fulham United 3-1 winners over Port Adelaide. And as it stands, score is 3-1 to Salisbury Inter between them and Noarlunga United there. Breathe. And I suppose we'll look at some in depth. Where do we start? We'll start with you, Alessio. 9 goals. Ridiculous.
Yeah, it just seems like us and Adelaide Atletico, neither our defences or goalkeepers really like those games. It was a 4-3 in the preseason and a 6-3 in this one. And again, it was quite tight, but seems like it's a bit of a tradition for us when the game's within one goal and we don't get that goal. and it gets later and later, we seem to just get a bit turned off and concede a bunch in quick succession. Because it started fantastically for Atletico. I think this is technically, if you don't count their Adelaide victory as well, their first appearance in the Australia Cup as Adelaide Atletico. So in the first half, I think there was, I might have to check, but if it's 10 or 11 minutes, they scored 3 goals in the opening 10 or 11 minutes. So right out the gates, and I might show you the highlights later, but their first goal was classic FIFA goal. A long ball from the left turned into a first-time volley on the right, which ends in the top corner. Unbelievable goal, probably one of the best goals I've seen at this level before. And then after that, a few cutbacks made it 3-0. And we thought, oh, another one of those days again, conceding early goals, can't come back. But we did well. I mean, got a goal back in the first half, got a goal back again early in the second half. It might have been late in the first half, sorry. So it was 3-2 at half time. A real big comeback and probably a good crowd there as well at Mount Barker, which was good to see. Even some big names. I think Matt Halliday was there. A couple of photographers were there as well. And obviously, Adelaide Atletico have a good Argentinian support as well. And then in the second half, with our thin squads, we couldn't really use much of our bench. So we only had one substitute to use. So we didn't have too many cup tied for the next day. And I think we were just a bit tired in the end there. And they put a few away. And we got one back right near the end as well, which was actually an interesting fact. I think Dimmy Peppers posted it on Twitter earlier in the season about players who had the longest game streak without a goal. And our vice captain, Jack Vanderhack, was 76 games without a goal. He was also a goalkeeper and mostly as a defender, but he broke his streak finally and picked up his first senior goal in his 76th game. And so that was a little bit highlight, but obviously moving on to the week and hope for the better. And luckily they're not in our league, so we don't have to enjoy any more of those high-scoring games.
Absolutely. And I suppose just keeping on you for the time being in around your area, Sturt beating Anglevale 6-1 in what was John Fusco's final game as well, and Hills Hawks beating Para Hills West very narrowly 1-0.
Yeah, I knew quite a few people in both those games, and I did get the perfect result, Sturt winning 6-1 as well. Unfortunately, there was no John Fusco penalty. He did get a booking, though, which I'm glad he's sure that there's no tallies for booking amounts as there is games and goals amounts. But I'm actually messaging him after the cup draw today saying, Teacher Gully, maybe run him out for another one. How many farewell games can you have until you play a pretty much more competitive side than those ones? But he said, no, I've got to hang him up one time or the other. I can't be one of those players that keeps coming in and out of retirement. So a great win for them. Rotated some of their side as well. Got to see some players back on the park that haven't been for the first couple of games, and some of the youngsters as well. And Adelaide Hills Hawks, a big surprise for us because all of us predicted Para Hills West to win this game. But it was a 1-goal game for them. Some good players as well for that Para Hills West team. There's both the Doyle brothers who are at Mount Barker on trial in pre-season, good players. And I think Joe Doyle might have been an ex-Hawks player as well. But yeah, a great win for them in the Cup. They've had, obviously, some tough defeats to deal with in the past. I'm not sure how they went last year in the Cup specifically, but they haven't started the season with the best of form either. But to get a win in the Cup is a massive thing for any club. And they've got a very tough draw in the next round. I think they've got an MPL team. I think it's Comet. West Adelaide, yeah. So that's going to be very, very tough. But they've got at their home ground, which is fantastic for them. They're going to host a Cup game, second round. It's more than a lot of teams can say. And I hope they have a good result there because it's obviously a tough ground to go to, and it's going to be a good home performance. And from memory, the last time West Adelaide and Hawks were in the same league, it was a wild game there in the rain where I think Kasumovic scored a late winner. So, good results from Sturt and Hawks, and a good start to them for the Cup rounds.
Mark, surprise, surprise. We'll go to you to talk about the southern teams in the Cup. Seaford beating Elizabeth Downs 5-2. Trying to see what else was there from Downs. Of course, no longer now 4-1, as it looks like as well. And I suppose South can technically count the Limestone Coast teams. Mixed results, I think, but improved for some of them compared to previous years.
Yeah, where would you like me to start?
We'll start
Cove,
we'll start with the actual your South teams.
Seaford, great result. Considering we all picked Downs, and we know that Downs have been effectively giant killers in the last few years with the Cup. So um, we all went with Downs. Obviously, Seaford we're going to struggle a little bit this year. We thought with just obviously quite a young squad, but like I said previously, the signings they made right before deadline day have really helped the squad come along. And I think Conway scored again in the cup, so he scored two in one in the league, one in the cup that I can remember so far. So those players that have come in have really bolstered the squad, and it shows. I said it's not easy to beat the Downs at Agana Park, and they went there and did a job and came out with quite convincing winners in the end. Souths played against Para Hills East from Sunday Division 1. Again, we're expecting Souths to make top 6, but on the showing that they had on the weekend, that looks like a far away scenario, to be honest. I mean, they did rest a lot of players. And this is what Alessio and I were talking about at the start, is it worth resting players 2 games into the season? Look, for me, the cup's a cup. You've got to go for it, because you never know what can happen, to be honest. But hey, that's the choice they made, and they paid for it, unfortunately. Para Hills East coming out 5-0 winners in the end. So I think they had two or three players from the league starting, like from the league the week before starting in the cup. So I think it was about 7 changes made to the South squad for that game. So and they had Alex on the bench. JJ Rideout wasn't even in the squad. So clearly concentrating on the league, but we'll see what happens there. Cove, obviously, heading down to the Limestone Coast. We expect them to win, but none of us picked those kinds of scores, to be honest. We did pick high scores. I think someone got to a 12, but to win 16-0 is quite a big win. So, I mean, it's great the Limestone Coast are in it. So, but when you come up against a team, State League 1 team, like Cove, who have got goal scorers throughout, you're going to run that risk. So, but great result for them as well, and good to get. Really, I mean, if they've got, I can't remember who scored all their goals, to be honest, but there's multiple scorers. I think Ollie scored 4, I think, in the end. So that goes a good way of getting to be a top goal scorer in the Australia Cup.
Well, I think he'll be beaten by Stefan Mateo, who I think scored 6 or 7
6, yeah.
6 goals in their game. I think I remember last year it was Christopher Victorek who finished top goal scorer of the cup, but it was all
Like
because
8,
he scored 8
Fulham,
goals against
yeah.
a Limestone Coast. I can't remember which side it was, but he finished top because he all scored 8 in one game.
Yep.
David, on to you. I guess, some of those Limestone Coast results. 2-0 to Titans, very, very close with International, and then Olympic only beating Gambia Central's 5-1. And those were I guess, probably higher tier Limestone Coast sides. Well, decent results for them.
Yeah, look, I can't help but think in retrospect that the Limestone Coast teams should maybe play a round first. An Australia Cup for round 1 just regionalised, and they play down there. I think it's great that they're in it. If we're to be truly a national knockout competition, we need rural teams in it, and I would encourage more rural teams to enter if they can. But I do think maybe there should have been a qualifying round for them down there just to regionalise it. It's a long way to go, and you're right. Stefan Mateo did get 6 goals, and Ollie Grant did get 4 goals for Cove and Croatia and Cove respectively. And I'm sure they enjoyed their day out. Probably turned into a bit of a training run for them. But then they've got all that travel and so on. So I was a bit disappointed. I thought Limestone Coast sides might have been a wee bit closer, but I don't have much experience in terms of watching them. So I think we've covered it all quite well. I mean, I got my West Adelaide 3-0 win over Southern Knights prediction right, so I was happy with that, and I've bagged the points for that. But surprise results. I was surprised that the Hawks did get their win. We've kind of already mentioned that game as well. I was surprised at the Para Hills West versus South Adelaide result. Para Hills
East,
East, West, North. It doesn't matter, does it? I thought South Adelaide were a better team, and I'm starting to rue my pre-season prediction that they were going to be a promotion contender, because they've just not been the team that I thought they would be, and that's been a bit disappointing. And I agree with Mark. I don't know why you're resting players 2 games into the season. And okay, it's the Cup. It's maybe not the most important competition you're in terms of you're not going to win the Australia Cup if you're South Adelaide, but I still think you should take it more seriously than that. That's kind of it. I guess we don't want to go on too much longer about it all. That's kind of my...
I do have one more. The mysterious Portland Panthers losing 13-0 to Croydon, and also somehow a game which we actually have footage from thanks to a TikTok, which I think Alessio maybe linked me.
Yeah.
So we actually have some sort of match footage from it, which is good to see. And I suppose, David, I told you the result, and you were quite shocked by it, that Croydon managed to win by that larger margin.
Well, I thought Croydon would probably win. I've played against Croydon in the late 90s and early 2000s. They were always quite a strong Sassel side in Division 1. But yeah, I didn't probably expect as big a scoreline as that. But look, maybe this has answered the question as to why we were unable to get any of the Portland staff, players or coaches or presidents on the show as guests. Maybe they knew this was coming. But yeah, look, video cameras and everything down there. Well done, them.
Alistair?
I was just going to say, I was thinking about how you guys are saying with the people changing their team and stuff. I also didn't have South Adelaide in my top 6, so I did predict they would not do that well this year. But it's an interesting one because I can understand it from some teams, and I can understand it from further in the competition, depending on what your aspirations are during the season. I remember famously, I think it was 2021 when Sturt had played a very weakened side against Adelaide City in the quarterfinal. And that was mainly because Sturt were worrying about trying to make the finals of the NPL where they didn't have the biggest of squads, and they needed to just worry about what they do in the league. So they had a bit of a weekend, or most of the fringe players play in the first team for that cup round because it was midweek by then as well. So I can understand when it's midweek. But yeah, definitely for a team that's probably expecting to do a lot better in the league, and it's that early in the season, I think that rotating the team is pretty much detrimental at this point. But again, I think even if they played their strongest team, they would have found it difficult against that Parry Hills East team. Sorry.
Absolutely, and of course, as we saw the cup fixtures for the next round come through today, but we'll go through those when that round comes around. On to our predictions for this coming round. Alessio, you gave us some clues to how we did last week. What's the leaderboard looking like?
So at the moment, there's 2 on 50 points. That would be Mark and myself. With Mark getting 25 points this week, which is equaling his last 2 weeks. David got 23 points this week. Seb got 23 points this week. I got 28. Obviously, that's because we had so many cup fixtures and WNPL and WSL. But obviously, the picks were I picked the 6-1 Sturt. David and myself picked the 3-1 Fulham. Seb picked 3-1 Blue Eagles.
Oh, I didn't know
and
that.
Mark and David, which is, I think by the end of here, that David was just copying Mark, but it was 4-2 NTC and the WNPL, which they both picked. But yeah, a lot of in between that, getting a lot of the correct winners of the games in general.
Can I just make the comment that I don't think I've copied anyone intentionally. maybe I did copy Mark, but I didn't copy him intentionally.
Well, you have an opportunity to not copy him again with
I'm
this
the
week.
boss of me.
State League 2, Round 2, North. Northern Demons versus Adelaide Atletico. I'm going to go with a 3-0 Atletico win.
I'll go... What did you go? 3-0. I'll go 2-0.
Yep.
Adelaide Atletico. Sorry, Demons, friends.
David.
I'll go 4-1 Atletico.
David.
I'll go 2-0 Atletico.
Salisbury Inter versus Elizabeth Grove. I'm going to go an Inter 3-1 win.
I'm on 3-3 draw. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm trying to get in front of you so that you can choose what you want to do.
Yeah, but then he can copy.
Ah,
What did you go for, Mark?
3-3 draw.
3-3 draw. It won't be a 3-3 draw. Salisbury Inter will win this 2-0.
I'll go 4-2 Inter.
Port Adelaide versus Gawler Eagles. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Gawler.
I'm going to go for a 2-0 Port Adelaide.
I'm going to go 2-2 draw.
I go 1-1 draw.
Okay. Modbury Vista versus Garn United. I'm going to go for a Vista 3-1.
I'll go for a draw on this. I'll go 2-2.
I'll go 3-2 Vista.
I go 4-2 Vista.
On to the South, Hills Hawks versus Noarlunga United. I'm going to go for Hills Hawks 1-0.
What's the
Undecisive.
score? What's the score in the cup at the moment, Seb?
4-1 to Inter.
Okay.
I'm going 1-0 draw.
I'm going 2-1 Hills.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a Hills win as well, but I better not copy Mark or Alessio will pick me up on that. So I'll go for 3-2. I'm going to go for 3-2 for the Hills Hawks.
Mount Barker versus Eastern United, I think, is the first time this season we'll have to bring out the catchphrase, sorry, Alessio. Eastern United 4-0.
I've already brought it out last week.
I didn't know. I didn't realise.
I'm going to say sorry. On you go.
No, go, David. It's up to you, mate. Go for it.
I'm going to say sorry, Alessio. Eastern United will win this. What did you say? 4-0? I'm going to go for 4-0.
Yeah, you can go for 4-0. I'm okay with you copying me, David.
So am I. Sorry, Alessio. I'm going to go 5-1.
You give him a goal. It's nice.
You give him a goal. Nice.
Well, I'm actually not sure when or where this fixture is going to be played because they've told us it's going to be cancelled, but they haven't given us where it's going to be postponed to. So
3-0, 2-0, 3-0.
I'll go 4-1 Eastern.
Wow. All right. Seaford versus Western Strikers. I'm going to go for 2-2.
I'm going to go for a Western Strikers win, 3-2.
Is this out there?
This is at Seaford.
At Seaford, yeah. I'm going to go for a 3-2 Seaford win. And Conway to score again.
I was going to go, I'll go 3-1 Seaford.
And finally, for State League 2, Adelaide Titans versus Adelaide University, I'm going to go for a Uni 3-1 win away.
I'm going to go for a Titans win, 2-0.
Uni 2-0. What'd you go with, Seb?
3-1.
Uni 3-1.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go 4-1 Uni.
Very, very good. On to WSL round 3, Sturt Lions versus Western Strikers. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw.
Sorry, I was just bringing the table up. Who's
Sturt versus Western Strikers.
Sturt versus Western Strikers. I'll go for a draw in this one. 3-3.
I'm going to go Sturt 1-0.
I'll go Strikers 3-2.
Grove versus Cove, the rhyming derby. I'm going to go. I'm going to go for 3-1 Cove.
I'm also going to go for a Cove win in this, 4-3.
Good game.
2-0 Cove.
I'm going to go 4-2 Grove.
Very, very nice. Vista versus South Adelaide, a game which could start providing some gaps in the WSL. I'm going to go for a Vista 4-0, though. I think it's going to be their year.
This is a massive game. This is the first 6-pointer I think we've come across, isn't it? The winner of this will put a 3-point buffer between themselves and the team in second place. I don't think it'll be a draw. I'm going to go for South Adelaide to win this. 4-3.
Another good game.
I picked 4-3 a few times. Haven't
Yeah.
I? Yeah. Probably just copied Mark though, to be honest.
I'm going a 2-2 draw.
I'll go the same 2-2 draw.
And finally, Adelaide Jaguars versus Modbury Jets. I'm going to go a 1-1 draw.
It's a hard one to pick, isn't it? Because Jaggers have only got the one game under their belt, and that was a loss to start. I'll just go for a draw in this one, 3-3, but I really don't know.
I'll go 3-1 Jets.
I got a 0-0 draw.
0-0.
0-0.
See,
Wow.
man.
I'll tell you what,
Boring.
if there's one
Just
thing you get
because.
from the women's game, it's goals, goals, goals.
You know what? There's going to be a surprise. There's got to be a surprise some stage.
On to round 3 of State League 1. Also, as like a side fact, I realised that like majority of the teams in State League 1 are animals. When you look at it, Blue Eagles, Vipers, South
Pontian.
Adelaide Panthers, Sturt Lions, Pontian Eagles, Adelaide Cobras. It's the animal league.
And I think the only animal that you get in South Australia is maybe an eagle, right?
Do we even? I don't even think we do.
Yeah, we do. Do you know what's funny? Do you know what's funny is when I used to do footy tipping, like the other footy crap thing, I used to just base it on what they were. Like if it was like the Eagles or the Swans, I'd pick which
what would
animal would
win.
win in the wild and just go with that. So if there was a giant playing, I'd be like, well, the giant's going to win because he'll just trot on them and stuff like that. Like, had no idea. So, but I
So
don't know
the Adelaide Tyrannosaurus Rexes would all have done quite well in that.
Oh, mate, they would have been, as long as you could get past the fact that they had no arms.
The Essendon Bombers just beat everybody.
Yeah, you see, there's a method to the madness. However, I didn't do very well in the footy tips.
On to West Adelaide versus Adelaide Blue Eagles. I'm going to go for a 3-1 West Adelaide at Kilburn.
My faith has been restored in West Adelaide. I was poorly dismissive of them at the start of the year. I just didn't really count on them, and they've come through very well, didn't they? They've had they haven't lost a league game yet. Can't remember how they did in the cup. They won in the cup, didn't they? They won
3-0.
They won in the cup. Yeah. So I apologise. I apologise to West Adelaide. I got it wrong, and you're going to beat Blue Eagles 3-0.
By forfeit or for real this time?
No, that's real. Nothing.
So the question is,
I've
go on, Alessio.
I was going 4-1 to West Adelaide, and it sucks that they're not the Sharks anymore.
The interesting thing for me is I've heard from multiple sources, Alessio, you were one of them actually, that they've parted ways with their coach in Legati. And I've heard that Hugo Jimenez has gone back for, I think, would be his third stint with the club. So are they going to have new manager bounce?
Maybe.
But I'm still going for a West Adelaide win.
Yeah.
3-0. Actually, 3-1, sorry.
Okay.
Blue Eagles have got a goal in them for sure.
Vipers FC versus Salisbury United. I'm going to go for a... I'm disappointing one team here because Vipers don't like us, and I always tend to back Salisbury. So it's either I create more enemies or have an enemy. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw.
Oh, way to sit on the fence.
Better an enemy than an enema, I always say. I'm going to go for a Vipers win in this. I'm going to go 4-3 for Vipers.
I'll learn to live by that phrase for the rest of my life,
Yeah.
David. Thank you.
Yes, that's one that's been passed down from generation to generation.
Mark?
I'm going to go 2-1 Salisbury. Is it at Salisbury's ground?
No.
Okay.
Apex.
Apex. Yeah, look, I'm going to go 2-1 Salisbury.
I went 3-2 Salisbury.
Cumberland United versus South Adelaide. I'm going to go for a 3-0 Cumberland.
Do Cumberland have a nickname? They're not called the Foxes or something, are they?
They are the Foxes.
Yeah, they are.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're another animal. I forgot about them. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to go for Cumberland to beat South Adelaide, and this is another early season thing.
A fox or a panther. That's what you got to pick from by Mark's logic.
Yeah, I'm not going to pick a panther here. The fox is going to outlast the Panthers. South Adelaide have disappointed me no end this year. I'm going to go for Cumberland winning this, and they will win it 3-0.
I'll go Cumberland 2-1.
I'll go 2-0 Cumberland.
Sturt versus Fulham. I'm going to go for a 4-1 Sturt win. Wow, no one wants to predict.
I'll go 3-1 Sturt.
Brave man. You're
Mark?
really thinking about this. Wow.
Yeah, because
Why?
Fulham. Well, they've come off. They did well in the cup. They did well the week before. They lost their first game against Pontians, but they've last 2 games have been quite productive. So it's always hard. I think I'll go Sturt 3-2. I think.
I'm going to go Fulham 3-2.
Olympic versus Cove. I'm going to go for... It's interesting. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw.
That's what I was going to do.
You're more than welcome to. It's just that you'll be
Yeah, I
copying.
will. Yeah, 2-2 draw for me as well. I'm happy to copy. It doesn't bother me.
Of course.
I think this will be a draw as well. I'll go for 3-3.
And I'll go for a 1-0 draw.
And finally, Cobras versus Pontian. I'm going to go for Pontian 2-1.
Cobras
Eagles to beat a
3-1.
snake.
Yeah, I'm
I
going to
was
go
going
for
to go Pontoon 2-1.
I'm going for Cobras winning this one as well. 2-1. Oh, what did you pick, Mark? What was your
3-1.
score? 3-1. I'll go 2-1.
On to round 2 of the WNPL. Of course, I forgot to preface this. Due to the heat, a lot of these games will probably be rescheduled or moved around, so no clue when or where these games will be played. Football SA versus Adelaide Comets. I'm going to go for an NTC 2-1 win.
3-3 draw.
Comets win 3-2.
I'll go a 2-1 Comets.
Flinders versus Campbelltown. A big game probably in context of the bottom of the table towards the end of the season. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Campbelltown. And also, I forgot to mention as well, the not the curse, what's the right thing? Whatever the opposite of a curse has continued because both Paul and Joel won their games this weekend.
Yeah.
So
Yes, they did.
Brasfoot, good luck to you. We should have had Brasfoot on last week. They might have won.
Yeah,
So
our guest always wins.
Yeah, just to remind us then, every guest we've had on, the following game, they've won.
Danny, Matt Canny,
Yep.
and then Joel and Paul both winning their first games. So technically, Brasfoot should win their next game.
Teams will be queuing up to be on the show before we know it.
But yes, I think Campbelltown will win.
Yeah, I'll go Campbelltown 3-2.
Just referring to my notes on the weekend, I'm going to go for a Campbelltown win as well. So in the pre-season cup, Campbelltown did score 2 goals in their 4 games. So they can score. Both goals came from Monique Rikiki. So if she's listening, good on you, Monique. I expect you to score this weekend in your 3-0 win over Flinders United.
I went with a 2-2 draw.
West Adelaide versus Adelaide Uni at Kilburn. An interesting one again. Adelaide Uni probably having a big test to see what they're really like. I think West Adelaide will win, but I think it'll be 3-0.
Yeah, I think West Adelaide will be too strong for Adelaide Uni, who will be buzzing after having beaten Adelaide City last week and maybe have a bit of belief, but I don't think it'll be enough. And I think West Adelaide will win this one 3-1.
4-2, West Adelaide.
I've gone 3-1 West Adelaide as well.
Metro United versus Salisbury Inter. Another interesting one. I'm going to go for, this is at TK Shutter, and I think this one has been announced by Inter that it's going to be on Friday night now instead of a doubleheader. I think they've announced it themselves, but I'm not sure if it's entirely confirmed yet. I'm going to go for Inter 3-1.
We got 2-2 draw.
That's what I was thinking as well.
I cannot now go against Metro United, can I?
To be fair, I think when I wore this Metro shirt, I predicted them to lose. Maybe I can't remember what I said last week.
No, I'm gonna back Metro United to win. I'm gonna back them to win this one. I don't think they'll concede. But they might struggle to. They're not going to score the 3 goals as easily or as comfortably, should I say, as they did last week. So I think Metro United. I think they'll win this one. It'll be a close one. They'll only win it 2-0. They won't concede, but they might only get 2 goals. So 2-0 for Metro United.
I've gone 3-2 Metro.
And then finally, Adelaide City versus West Torrens Burkalla, a Monday night game as a part of a double header with the men's MPL side. Both games being City versus Burkalla, which is good to see. So both lots of fans can be there for the entirety of the whole night. But I'm going to go for a Burkalla win 4-0.
I fancy Burkalla in this one as well. I'll go 3-2 Burkalla.
2-1 Burkalla.
I'll go 2-2 draw.
Finally, on to the men's MPL for round 3. Adelaide United versus FK Beograd, which has been announced. It's now no longer at Highmarsh, unfortunately, due to the heat and probably having to play out, what would it be, like 38-degree weather at 4 p.m. on a Friday afternoon.
Yep.
Not ideal. So fair enough that it's being played tomorrow night now at Jeps Cross.
Yep.
I'm going to go for... I think it's a bit more interesting now that it's not directly before, because they might have a few of those players on the fringes. Like you might have an Amlani Tattoo across both, maybe. I'm going to go for a United 3-1 win.
If FK Beograd lose this, they'll be the only team who've lost all 3 of their opening games. I think they'll bounce back a little bit. I have faith in them, and this is the game that they're going to turn it around in. FK Beograd to win this one 2-1. Because they
There you
actually
go.
weren't that bad when we saw
No,
them. So,
They're
yeah,
not bad at all.
They just couldn't really
They're not bad
convert,
at
to be
all.
honest, from memory.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm going to go
Yeah.
1-1 draw.
I'm going to go 3-1 Viera.
Adelaide Comets versus Croydon. I'm going to go for a Comets 3-1 win at Ellis Park.
I'm going to go Croydon 2-1. Just
Reasoning?
to throw a spanner in the works.
Fair enough.
But
Because
Comets
you want to.
also, Comets, they obviously score. They only scored the 1 goal at home in their first game there.
Or
Just
in the cup at home.
yeah, just not sure goal scoring wise. I don't know.
Fair
Andre
enough.
Cole, if he's playing, he's always a danger. So I just go for a bit of a what would normally I think was probably a bit of an upset.
Fair enough. David.
Well, I admire your balls, Mark. I think that's a courageous move.
We're talking about soccer.
That's a courageous move. I'm not in a position. I've got to play it safe if I've got to catch you. So I'm going to go for a Comets win in this one, 3-2.
I've gone 2-0 Comets.
Very good. Next up is the Northern Derby between Para Hills and Modbury, which is now also going to be played out in the Cup as well, which is very, very exciting. I'm going to go for Modbury 3-1.
If Mowbray can gel, I have heard Hamish McCabe's out injured, so it does give an opportunity for one of the other boys to step up. And I mean, they've got plenty of striking.
And do the celebrations too.
Yeah, exactly. They've got plenty of striking options there, and they've got plenty of players that can do different celebrations. So, but I'm going to go with Mowbray, and after watching Para Hills last week, I'm going to go Mowbray 4-0.
I've also gone that 4-0 Modbury.
I'm going to go for Modbury win, 3-1.
You admired his ball so much, you almost did a similar prediction.
What did he pick?
You
He
picked
said 4-1.
3-1, so maybe mine's yours, Seb.
Did you pick 3-1?
Campbelltown versus Playford at Steve Woodcock. Funny enough. We're gonna. I'm gonna go for a Playford 2-1 win.
Really? Yeah, Campbelltown haven't found their form yet, have they? They've got a loss and a draw, and Playford have got. Well, they're coming off that win, massive win, aren't they? 8-1 against Para Hills Knights. I'll go for Playford in this, 4-2.
Playford 1-0.
I'm going to go 2-2 draw.
Metro versus Croatia Raiders, a game which has been normally quite entertaining when these two have played each other since Croatia Raiders have been promoted. I'm going to go for a 4-3 to Metro.
I'm going the same. Metro 4-3.
Same balls.
I thought you might change. I was like, because I was like 4-3, and then you said, I was like, damn it.
Croatia Raiders looked good when they played Beograd 2 weeks ago, but they did slip up in their opening game against Adelaide United, didn't they? I think Metro Stars will be too strong. I think it will finish 4-2. Metro Stars.
I've gone 3-1 Metro.
And then finally, Monday night, as we said, a part of that doubleheader with the women's sides, Adelaide City versus West Torrens Burkalla. I'm going to go for another 3-3 draw.
I'll go 2-2 draw.
And I genuinely can realistically see a 3-3 draw happening. Genuinely.
I'll go for a Bacala win in this one. They haven't won yet. They've had 2 draws. I'll go for a win in this one in a tight game, 2-1 Bacala.
I've gone 3-0 Adelaide City.
Very, very well. Well, that's all the games predicted, everything gone through. Before we finish off, anything else from anyone before we head off for another week?
Just going to say, I touched on it last week that I had a surprise for this week. I can announce that we have a sponsor for our show. We'll do a big unveiling next week, but we do have a sponsor for our show for the remainder of the 2025 season. He is a former footballer of the south area, played for Noarlunga and Seaford. And that's all I'm giving away at this stage. But
not you, Mark.
No, it's not me. I never played for Noarlunga. One of the clubs I didn't play for. Absolute gentleman, and he's decided to jump on board. So we'll release those details. It'll be all part of the show next week.
Absolutely, very, very, very exciting for all of us. Anything else from anyone?
No, not for
Can't
me,
get
Your
out
Honour.
to the games this week. If it's too hot, they'll still be live streamed when they get pushed back to whatever day. So everyone's going to enjoy their Sunday for once, the day before work. So make sure you tune in. And even if you can go to the Thursday night one as well, it'll be big there at Service FM. So just get down to the games if you can, or keep watching on live.
Absolutely. Plenty of football, even with the heat, and we're more than happy to brave the heat for the general public in order to deliver football commentary in the depths. Thank you for joining us for another week. Thank you to the three of you. It was a very enjoyable time, although at times very silly, but fun as always. Alessio, thank you for finally joining as well as our third guest, or second guest, I should say. You made it in time.
I just don't get the guest bounce, it seems.
On that note, we'll head off. Thank you for joining us for another week. As we say, get out to football, and we will see you all next time.
Obrigado.
Alex Mullen to make it 3-1 in the grand final. Puts in the penalty and wins the grand final for Campbelltown City.
No one attacks it. Comes back off the Fernandez. It's the goal. It's goal. Oh! And their talisman's got another one.
Every City back quick.
Jake King. Oh, what a shot. My goodness me. Oh, can't teach that sort of stuff. Sends it in, keeps it low. And it's gone in. It's gone in. LA Uni have scored. In time added. Tries to get under control, and the shot from Tolland! Salisbury into a 2-0 up!
Still Butler with another chance, it's 2-1 to Playford! Persistence has paid off for Playford!
One touch the keeper, puts it into the bottom corner. Beach gives him a shoulder after that as well. He's lost his clean sheet, and he's lost his head with a red card! David, this is massive!
Skills to make the girls sing and the geezers too, yeah, we're doing this thing.